Hey guys, welcome back to Kasal series. As you remember, in the previous video, Nemetome, the co-founder of Kasal, introduced the reason why he built Kasal and how it makes the agent deployment much more easy. I have two guests, David from Databricks and have Max from the customer side who will talk about the issues they faced and why Kasal was the right solution for them. And then David will introduce two new components. And just keep in mind, this is a series of videos. So within which each video, we're going to introduce additional features. So at the end, you will be able to build an end-to-end agent on Databricks easily. Hi, Max.
Hi, Youssef. Nice to be here. I work at Coca-Cola Hellenic Beverage Company. I am in the digital technology and system platforms team, and there we work on data strategy and governance. We also do innovative things with regards to the strategic part, including the thing that we'll present today. We had business users coming to us from one specific business unit. The idea was, we're a big beverage company. We try to increase our revenue by selling more of our product. And for one specific brand in one of our business units, sales and marketing team came to us and wanted to have sort of solution that can find events that could be relevant for that given brand strategy. So if they say, we have a certain brand we want to target, the goal would be to increase distribution. How can we do that if we had a look at very specific events? So within given target, maybe locations or hubs, can we somehow do that? Because what does this usually mean if we were to tackle this? It means we need somebody from the event team, for example, that will do the research on which events have we participated in before, maybe with other brands, or just generally which ones are available, because some of them might be reoccurring, but there might be new ones as well for next year, right? But then not all of them would be relevant. So we need to curate them as well. And which ones are located in the cities and hubs that we're interested in. Then we have the coordination between the different departments, because those are just the events. We need maybe the marketeers to identify, is that something that we can do? What exactly can we do there? What is the action proposal for this specific event? And also the whole categorization and relevance assessment. So is this even relevant at all for the brand has to happen as well. So we have the different stakeholders from commercial excellence or portfolio team, the event team and the marketing team are all coming together, aligning, meeting up. So what we tried with Kasal is basically including those key stakeholders that we would usually have in the setup as a multi-agent system, and trying to automate the event discovery, to automate the relevance scoring, to automate the coordination between who receives which input, making some actionable proposals depending on the strategy as well. With that being said, we had implemented, as mentioned, the overall framework, which David will present in detail.
Thank you, Max. My name is David. I work for Databricks since roughly half a year. I'm solution architect for Coca-Cola and had the lovely chance to work with Max, especially and Nima together on the use case, which we will show you in a second. So, as Max briefly introduced, in order to solve this complex real-world challenge, let's probably start directly first from the business side, right? In order to solve it, like you might have hinted from Max, you would need in a real-world setting something like an analyst, a portfolio manager, somebody who does web research, or a marketer, right? And what we now try to do, and what I will show you now, is how we solve this challenge together with our customer on a real-world business use case example. So this is a bit of a more complex crew, as you can already tell, but I will guide you through every little piece of the way, okay? And also probably important, we even added one little component based on reality. Imagine, for instance, we have a setting where we have some sales numbers stored in a database, and business user might come on top of this strategic marketing mapping, which Max explained, to position certain products, that they also might want to run this process when they see declining sales numbers, which usually you see like a pattern in your data, okay? And so basically what we will have a look at, and let me first also run it while we talk, we can already have have a look at the results once we are finished. In order to solve this complex business challenge in a real world scenario, what you might need is, for instance, you might have some kind of analyst who does some kind of web research. You might have a web researcher, portfolio manager, or a marketeer in order to solve the real world challenge, which Max explained. And what I now prepared is I basically put one item in front of it. This is, let's imagine you don't want to do a general web search for a certain product, but you come from this business perspective that one of your products, let's call it, for instance, product A, that it has declining numbers in sale. And you now want to find certain targets, certain event locations where you can position the target based on your brand strategy. So this part which Max explained. In order to solve this challenge, we have here actually a quite complex crew, but no worries, I will guide you through every little piece of it. So the first technology in order to have a look at the data of what kind of product is declining would be a Genie space from a Databricks perspective. So I just present here basically dummy data. So what this means, I created some random data where you happen to have on product A a reduction of your sales. And what happens now in the background is that this Genie space, I cultivated one question. So in which city do we have for this product a reduction in sales by X%? And what now happens is literally the parallel stream, because you now have on the one hand, your brand manager and your strategic manager who knows so much about your business. So your strategic priorities, what kind of target groups you want to have for this certain product. And in parallel, you also have the web researcher who finds basically who does internet research and finds web information about which kind of events happen. And what now happens in parallel, those two streams, they are processed and ultimately they are fed together to a marketing manager. He basically gets the input from your strategic manager and from your events to find basically, mathematically speaking, the intersection of where to best put your money in order to solve your original question, which you had, the declining number in sales, which you had. Okay. And ultimately, we just have some nice formatter to basically demonstrate that this is nicely formatted into a business view of Excel table-like structure. To solve this on a technical level, I already ran this through. What we had to do in the background, very easy. My colleague Nima mentioned it the last time. On the Databricks landscape, we will now introduce one after another the different tools which we have in Kasal. And for this little workflow, we actually use Genie Spaces, and for web research, Perplexity. But there's a whole variety of other tools which can be used. And actually, the final output is then just you design your workflow either by natural language or directly you can create the agents yourself. And at some point, you see this is still running because it needs around 5 minutes. You ultimately see the nicely formatted output where in my dummy data, I basically had in the city of Bologna a declining sales number, and it found literally all the most important information about a certain event and literally which product to target. And this is ultimately how the entire business challenge was solved for Coca-Cola, not on dummy data, for them, obviously, on their own real world data.
That's really amazing. And can you show us quickly how we can integrate Genie?
More than welcome, Yusuf, to also show you that. So it's super easy on the Kasal side. So you have on the top left side this configuration button. As my colleague Neme briefly mentioned the last time, we have something like a workspace concept. So every tool which I show you, you will allow it on a workspace level. So in this case, we are in my home workspace. And allowing Genie is as simple as you have here your list of tools. You simply can add them. Let's add Genie. Let's add Perplexity. You need to then allow them. It would hint you, for instance, because for Perplexity, you also need an API key. It would then hint some kind of message, hey, you forgot to set an API key. I will show you in a second where to set that one. And we allow Genie for that. You don't need an API key. And then if you have some kind of API key missing error message, you simply go here, set your keys. You will see this. For me, Perplexity is already set, and this is it. And you're good to go and can use the tools out of the box. This is as simple as it can get.
Yeah, that's so simple. It doesn't require any coding knowledge.
Exactly.
UI based, and that's it.
So you can really focus on your business challenge and how to integrate this in a workflow.
You know how to integrate Perplexity and Genie. stay tuned for more features.